Are you good? Okay, 6 o'clock, we'll call the meeting to order. The first order of business is the pledge to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Review and approve the minutes of January 22nd.
So moved.
Motion and there is a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? That's everybody, Chelsea.
Yeah.
Members' reports, we'll start with Lindsay.
Nothing.
Ron? Nothing. Juggy? No. And nothing I can remember. So we'll dive right into the town manager's report.
All right, a little bit of everything as we wind this route down and get ready for town meeting, so here we go. The elected official stipends, that was something that came up mid-budget process. Not really fair to be reviewing that in the middle of the election cycle, so I just started spreadsheeting that, looking at current stipends, membership, average number of meetings over the last 4 or 5 years, and then what that equates to. So right now I've got, let's say $55 per meeting up to $140 per meeting, is the wide range that you have for stipends on elected positions. Based upon the average number of meetings. So after we get through this budget, then I think while we have it on our minds, let's look at it for next budget after town meeting. And then hopefully put that to rest. So that is coming together nicely. And I think on the whole, it will make far better sense to everybody if we align those across boards and committees if we're going to do it. The problem there is that you may have boards or committees that don't receive them and then gonna say, well, why don't I get paid? But that would be a discussion for March. New fire truck, Todd is not here tonight, but he wanted to pass along the update that they met with the vendor for about 4 hours yesterday. All over the pluses and minuses and sideways moves. And we're looking for manufacturing in November with a forecasted delivery of December. So while I thought later on in the agenda, the capital expense for this year was going to be one item, this would be paid theoretically in this fiscal year, possibly 25. If everything gets approved at town meeting, we would have the funds in their reserve account to be able to afford that then. So that's the status of the truck. State revenue sharing projections came out earlier this week. So for fiscal year 26, we are flat. So most of the towns around us are actually up in terms of their revenue sharing. We are about flat, you know, it's less than 1% swing on that, so not perfect, but not a decrease. So I'm not complaining here in the town of Norridgewock. The survey work up on Madison Road, Sackett Break, I gave them a call. They're going to take a look at the maintenance of the public way, alleged public way, and sort through the information that we have from the registry of deeds, any claims that are or aren't on file, things like that. As of now, there's no evidence that there's any legal obligation to maintain that. And I have asked them to make that third-party neutral determination. If there is a legal obligation, complete the survey, give us the layout, and if there isn't, then please give us a letter to that effect and let us know what steps you took to exhaust in the research process. So iron that out. He seemed familiar with the area already, and I had done a lot of advanced deed work and whatnot for him, and then provided follow-up the meeting of what we had learned. So that is with them, and you know, it is what it is in the surveyor's calendar now. The bridge newsletter that went last week, it started dropping in the mail this today, so we'll see about that. There is information about the town meeting, things that the budget committee expects concern about, or awareness of the gazebo proposal as well as the new position proposal. That includes that in there as well. So there's a discussion about the dollar figure attached to the new position and the fact that that only funds part of the year and next year would be the full if that was approved. We want to make sure that that all gets communicated.
I got that today.
Oh, perfect. Dog licenses, the late fees in effect. Now that's $25 per dog, sorry about your luck. Right of way obstructions, Wilder Hill Road, it's been on and on and on and on and on, and we've tried and tried and tried and tried. It's now to the point, you can see the picture here, that Public Works took for me the other day, with the road after we plowed, it is in the road. I have sent the nicest, sternest letter that I could, by certified in first class, and really the fact of the matter is now is we're gonna look for it.
Yeah.
You're gonna clean it up, but we're gonna look for it because what is here right now, our plow truck just went clean through, no harm, no foul to us. But you put a regular motor vehicle on that road and you're sending somebody off.
Well, that last load down there is, I mean, damn near in that brook. That runs, I mean, just right at the end of there, so I don't even know how that's allowed.
So I've had DEP out, they say, no issues. I'm not in agreement with them, but I'm gonna do what I can. I'm road commissioner, right away instructing me to go. It's statute, so, we'll see about that.
Yeah, just hopefully, I mean,
There.
just moving forward, because there's other properties that are owned by same business, so like, just wanna make sure that, because there was encroachment on another road too, on River Road too, so just making sure that
So
the message is sent for not just one, all of your properties to like.
I cannot convey that message. I'm the road commissioner for town roads, not for state roads. So the concern has been shared with the state DOT about it, and DOT does not see that to be an issue. And the common argument that would come back is, well, you know, there's not an issue with the cemetery stones that are right on the edge of the right of way.
Yeah, they don't make you, so you have to walk in the road though, when you're walking past, that's the.
Right. So.
Like I have had to go into the road, walking the dog.
We'll see if this takes any hold and we'll go with another issue. This has obviously been the longest standing concern here.
Yeah.
So I've initiated that and I have the ability to do that. So that's where we're at. Absentee ballots now available for town meeting. And then that website is built out. And if there's anything more that we find for resources or whatnot that we think would be valuable, we'll add that. Fire department electric vehicle blankets. We don't have them. There are more and more people traveling through here that might. And the department brought that as a concern. The nearest department, I think, that has one is Waterville. So I had a meeting with Jeff Jones and the chief today about where do we go, what do we do, how do we fund something like this? They're a little over $1,000 a piece. And so we're going to put in an MMA grant for risk reduction. You know, when you start researching electric vehicles and the fire associated with them, it puts
They can't
out
just get
people.
put out like a normal
It's a
car.
little.
No, it takes a lot more water if you're gonna do that, and then we talk about water runoff and things like that. The goal,
Dirty as far as, you know, there's a lot of chemicals and stuff in it.
You'd think that the people making the electric cars would have to pay some sort of subsidy, so towns, that's a paid for, no, that's.
In a perfect world, are they single use blankets, do you know, or
well,
are
the
they?
ones that are being proposed are, and that
And
is
they're
because.
$1,000?
Yes,
Sweet baby
so
nuggets.
what we are calling these are seed supply.
Water's free
Where-
though, we have to use extra.
Okay, so it's a seed supply, they do have multiple uses, if you've got an accessory building that catches on fire. You can put it over that and protect something else, you've got a garage fire, you cover your car and it saves your house. You have a car in a parking lot, you can save everything around. The goal here is that there's seed supply, so that we would have what we need, and then. If we needed to use them on your motor vehicle, we would bill your motor vehicle insurance to recoup that.
That's what I was bring up the 0 rate.
And that-
Those things that we.
We're not looking for motor vehicles different generally than a home fire and things like that. I think people are a little bit more accepting of it. Area departments very close to here, bill out for burnout gear and things like that. I'm comfortable with the fact that if you're driving an electric vehicle and we're using an electric vehicle blanket.
Yeah,
You know,
seems
because
reasonable.
Yeah, as
our people, this.
long as we can recoup it, cause that just,
Yeah.
yeah.
The hyperlink in this, which is available online, will link you to a University of Miami study where they intentionally set an electric vehicle on fire to talk about the environment, human risk, and whatnot. It's interesting. And you don't begin to realize the exposure of our people until you start to just scrape the surface of it. It's bizarre. And then we've talked about reusable, and then what are you gonna do? You're gonna bear hug one of those things?
Yeah, no, that's,
And
yeah.
what are we gonna use to clean them? And so, you know, it's
Didn't we buy
generally,
like a $10,000 equipment washer?
that was a dryer, and no, and what we have for our extractor won't clean one of these. And there's just so much unknown about it. So if we can get a grant to pay for a minimum of 2/3 of these, I think that's a good investment.
What's in these electric cars different than
It was the batteries.
I mean, could you have that like in a golf cart, or I used to have electric feed car in the barn, but
It's
they just had a
the-
bunch of batteries and the wire, I mean, they're.
My understanding that it is the lithium and the volume of lithium that is in these batteries in the vehicles.
Okay,
And
water and lithium don't go well.
no, you can put one out with water, but they burn hotter, they burn longer. And I read somewhere you use over 100,000 gallons of water to put out one electric vehicle fire.
What about the foamy spray stuff? Have that, like.
We do.
That's got
I'm
PFAS
sure it
in
would-
it. Do that.
Trading stuff.
That's
Yeah,
what, that's
for
bad.
sure, For sure.
And when you put that volume of water on an electric vehicle fire, well, it's runoff, where's it going? Is it going into our wastewater system, to go to the river, is it going directly into the river?
Down the sewer.
Where? Right.
They
Probably.
need, they
And
need,
that's where you hope it would end up and not directly into.
they
the
need
river,
volume
right?
over there, they get no money.
Yeah.
So it is a very interesting conversation. I don't think we'd be talking about purchasing 3 of them if there wasn't grant funding. But to do that and have those on our apparatus and able to respond, honestly, it's a very good news piece if we're successful in this and the partnering with our insurance company and minimizing human exposure. So, Bill, like I said, the hyperlink in this takes you to the University of Miami article, which is, it's an interesting quick read as well. Tracking downtown books, we get questions all the time about, oh, well, I want this piece of property off Old County Road. Well, which Old County Road are you talking about? When did it get discontinued? Did it just get discontinued before this date or after this date? Is it in the county records? I wanna go through your town reports from 1910 through 1925 to find this. We just had one with the Dodland Road. Somebody has a landlocked piece because of, gradual splits, and they want us to try to substantiate their claim. So what I've done is I've gone back through 1880 town reports and the articles, and I pulled out the articles, the year and the article number. And how does that affect us, whether it's roads or policy or ordinance, things like that. Composition of boards and committees, the terms on boards and committees. And now the next step is gonna be to go through, and it's in an Excel file spreadsheet. So the next step will be to go through and tie that in with the town clerk's record from the time. And the decision of the voters, and then reference that, so you're able to go right back and find it on a control F. Find mechanism in the database, so we don't have that, I think it would be very helpful, there's over 100 of them. That we're looking at right now, and then maintaining that list going forward. I've got that for what I've got, but putting it all in one place is gonna be something super handy to have. So we'll see about that, that'll take a little bit of time, but it's one of those, get in the background, project, so it'd be nice to have that done. BMV training, we had the half day last Friday, it was awful, the training was horrible. But it should be our last mandatory training related to this plate conversion, starting May 1st of this year. You will be required, if you have a chickadee plate, to take a new plate. You can get the regular plate with the tree, or you can get a blank plate. If you hate the tree, just say, I want no tree, and we will give you a no tree
I
plate.
don't know what I have.
You have a chickadee plate,
No, I'm not.
and we're gonna force you to take a tree plate. But you will have the option on a regular chickadee plate to take the no tree plate if you want. If you have a plate that you like, if you have a vanity plate, if you have a low digit plate, you have to pay the good state of Maine $25 to keep it. Even if you have a vanity, you pay your vanity fee, you still have to pay $25 extra, and you need to do that before. So we're gonna have some not so happy residents come to register their motor vehicle with their vanity plates, and we're gonna say, no, you can't keep those. And they're gonna have to go through the secretary, we're gonna give them regular plates, and the Secretary of State's gonna then go through the process of punching their
So when
plates.
is this going to do?
May 1st,
It's gonna be done prior to,
gotta be done prior to, and yeah, so you've got vanity plates going on, right?
yeah, Lisa does, and I have one for the
Right,
company, yeah.
so you wanna go online and you wanna get those done, because we're not punching these at the jailhouse, we've outsourced it to Canada. And so
We're
they're,
not getting there.
so they are, well, I don't know. They are actually gonna mail these by postal
Now it's
service,
gonna be 50.
all of these plates, so I mean, we're gonna take probably 5,000 license plates that come by way of the mailing. Here, when the time comes, so,
by the way of the mail, maybe?
no, they're coming to 16 Perkins.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, that's what I said.
You know, we
So-
can.
I assume someone's gonna wanna like buy those. They get shipped somewhere, do all kinds of stuff
I'd
like
be driving.
license plates, like old license plates.
So your old license plate, we normally say we need to collect them. The state of Maine says it's too much to collect them. If you want to put them in your garage, put them in your garage. So, and you're not gonna be allowed to get them early. So if you're really excited about not having a tree on your license plate, if you're not up for registration, we're not gonna give you a new one. But they will have a fee. There'll be a new plate fee that will replace your plate. If you think you need to have it early, but anyway.
So it starts on May 1st, but if your vehicle doesn't order in December, it's whenever it comes in.
Right, but if you have a vanity plate and you're doing May, you wanna go
Yes, you
reserve
gotta
it,
be-
you probably wanna go reserve it now.
Yes.
They're not saving anything for anybody.
I only register mine every 3 years, so.
Well, you're gonna have to behave yourself this year. So honestly, let's be blunt.
You'll be down there with Phil.
Since COVID and law enforcement not enforcing, right? Registration and inspection. All of a sudden, if you don't register your car next year, you're gonna have chickadee plates that nobody else has. And so you might as well just put a big old sticker on your car that says, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to
Only
be doing.
over.
Got me there.
Anyway.
Oh, no.
So
you're
I
good for three. Just
honestly
get the new one,
expect
then you're good for three.
it's gonna be good for excise tax collection for the town. Just,
For 1 year at least.
Yeah,
well, you know what, we'll take it.
sure.
That's money that's intended for roads. Alright, so the 17th is President's Day, will be closed there Thursday evening hours. We're still closing at 4, keep you posted there, and maybe not appropriate, but appropriate. Karen's still in Boston, she seems to be doing well, is in good spirits. And you know, there's no timeline for return. We did send her an arrangement of flowers the day before yesterday, and she was thrilled, so hopefully she'll be back home this week.
Good. All right, thank you. Yep. Number 6 here, discussion action on February 5th, general warrant number 3.
Move to approve general warrant number 3 in the amount of $109,125.81.
Second. Motion was second, any discussion?
If the light bill that high, 7,500. That's all of them?
That's it, that's, yeah, it's at the airport, right?
You don't get municipal discount.
Yeah.
Is it just like the heat pumps are doing heat and they're just kind of working a bit harder?
Well, so I was digging in this afternoon, and that's why I was late doing everything. So fire department's running $400 or $500 a month. Some of it's heat pump, some of it's not. Public Works ran about $800 this month. The sewer plant, the plant itself runs $3,000 to $4,000.
Okay, that's what puts it up there then.
But
All me.
Yeah,
they also,
find you up.
so when you're a user like the sewer plant, they actually increase the rate that you're paying because of the classification of your business.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
So it's not that you get a discount in volume, you actually get stuck in.
Yeah,
volume.
they reversed that years ago, cause you picked on the old people, so.
So I know the fire department and public works are both prioritizing how to lower the cost of what's going on there. So I ended up setting up online accounts so we could monitor usage this afternoon, but it's overdue. Peter's been shopping energy costs for a long time. And it's to our benefit, but
We go solar, if we're gonna have these fancy blankets to put out fires, right?
Yeah.
so there, I'm
Working on
honest,
that.
today there's a discussion about, we've got solar grant money available to us. Do you put in a solar heat pump for the fire apparatus bank? Things like that to try to remain cost neutral, that you wouldn't do it if the state wasn't paying for it, even though it's your money, but it's available to us, so we've got to try to be a little bit smarter about that.
I
Because,
forgot about that, that's what drove it up, so that.
right, I mean, he's got, his sewer plant is the big one, but then we've got pump stations, 4 pump stations, 5 that we get.
Well, two little ones by the bridge.
Yeah.
Three big ones.
Right there. The heat tape for downtown, you know, you don't think about any of that, but the heat tapes are regular home built. Yeah,
Okay, anything else?
That was a color for sergeant, right?
yes. That's, we're holding a small retainage on that for
Yeah, cause they
spring
said they had some. work
to do the seeding, yeah.
Yeah, for the second, all those in favor? Everybody? Public comment?
Hi there. Yeah, I do have, I understand there's been some discussion about the problem on Upper Main Street that where the bank is eroded. And that because of it going, Army Corps of Engineers and all that stuff, it's gonna be an outrageously expensive project to fix that, and at some point in time, a discussion may be had to not fix it because discontinue the road.
Yes.
But if you look at what's going on there, I don't think it's gonna be possible to do that just because even with moving the water line to the side of the road out in the field, at that area right there, you're still only talking 40 feet from where the bank is caving in, so not fixing it is not, it's not, you're gonna have to fix it at some point in time, because if it is eroding and affecting that road at the present time, and you say, well, we're gonna shut the road off, all you're doing is pushing that problem forward to the future, because there is gonna be, at some point in time, a time in which you're gonna have to fix that bank, because if it's gonna keep eroding out, you've only got 40 feet, well, how many major floods is that You know, you don't know if you haven't put rock back on that bank and fixed that bank, it's gonna erode more quickly if we have another big flood event, which seems to be a little more common than it used to be. So we're gonna have to address that at some point in time. And I don't think that the issue is not, it's out of our hands because it's in the Army Corps of Engineers, which is unfortunate because I don't think the fix is probably substantial as they're gonna make it. And I think that's unfortunate for us as a town. But I think we're gonna have to address it at some point in time, and I don't think not fixing it and shutting the road off is. I know I'm a resident up there, I know I travel that road as much as anybody ever has. But I do believe that you're gonna have to address this problem. You may not. You may be old and gone, and me too, but at some point in time, in the coming future, you will have to stop that bank from eroding, because you got your electricity lines there, you've got your water line there. And even though they've been moved onto the other side of the road, it's just a matter of time, it may be.
Yeah.
A ways down the road. So I would hope there would be a way to, because I feel like we spent a lot of money in that section just recently, and my whole point was we just had to have that culvert that was failing, but if you're gonna shut that road off, why don't we just spend $90,000 on a culvert? Okay, and I said to Richard, and I know this person probably isn't the same, but we spent a huge amount of money on fixing the Father All Road, which has 10 cars a month.
Yeah,
And Winding Hill is not. I mean, that is a heavily traveled area. Yes, we have the Redwood Road, and yes, we have a way around that is acceptable. And it's really not adding it much to anybody's time that goes back and forth on top of that. I think that the
But I don't think,
airport
the
road
pump house
intersection,
wasn't down there, I don't even think it'd be a conversation, it would be like, just close it, but because the pump house is there,
but you have
almost
other
never-
issues that are gonna, and it may not be in our lifetime per se, but there will, you can't just let that keep eroding, keep washing out. Somebody's gonna have to address it.
And you hope that we can somehow find a grant.
An acceptable way to get that fixed so that we just go about our business, because like I said, some generation of people in this town are gonna have to stop that from eroding back towards that field. As Chucky could attest, they planted corn on that side of the road, on the right, on the river side of that road, there was a strip there that was cornfield one time.
And Merle Lloyd told me that.
Yeah, so it wasn't in our lifetime, but there was
Oh, yeah.
a strip of ground big enough to maintain and put corn in there. So, and we really haven't had any issues since '87. That whole bank has been.
That stayed pretty stable for near 40 years.
Yes, and
37.
it's that one section right there. I mean, it's not a big section, albeit, but it's an important section. So that's just my concern. I'm just getting it out there. I'm not even speaking on part of the road committee. I'm just voicing that concern that's gonna happen.
It's a crazy thought to think about closing any road, you're like, really?
It could end up in the river.
Right.
Mike Overton.
When they sell.
Left foot,
Yeah.
right foot.
Yeah, damn out for 1 year, so.
But it's not bad.
No.
He just told me that my 2 minutes was out.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, anything else on public comment there?
Wow.
How'd you do it?
That sounds like a topic for the road committee to discuss.
Yeah.
Right.
When's your next meeting?
I have no idea. Ask the man.
When's Skip coming back?
I think Jeff Lloyd's gone too.
today.
Jeff's gone till March, isn't he?
I don't know if he's gone yet, but probably, I think he is.
I was gonna say. I don't think,
Typically got that one there.
Oh, you're 2 minutes left.
I've been,
It's fine, we're not moving on to this year anyway, but it's gonna be something that, as this construction season gets underway, we start planning for next year.
Yeah, but if we do close it, we take speed bump out.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be needed
Oh, God. Let's go to
anymore.
the public.
Hey,
Let's go on to the.
You're gonna have to
public.
cut
that.
it's gonna be dug up anyway, in the water line, so I'll be happy as hell.
Unless the, unless the,
Moving forward.
Oh, yeah.
Unless the
They're still gonna come to that house.
public hearing on the twenty
They're still gonna
twenty-five
come to.
amendments for the
board's
town,
house.
for
Unless
the
they tear it
town
down.
of Norridgewock shoreline
They're gonna
zoning
cut 'em off,
ordinance.
and I don't think they can do that.
Chucky's gonna read it off for us.
Alright, so you got the booklet is the red line version of the ordinance. This is available online, you go to norridgewock.gov, scroll down to the date, you see the town meeting logo, you click on that, and it's gonna link you to all sorts of documents that have to do with town meeting. It includes the shoreline zoning ordinance in red line, the shoreline zoning ordinance in its final version as proposed. It's got the job description we'll talk about in the next public hearing session. But really, like we said at the last meeting, There are very few changes in this ordinance. There's an added definition about what's considered regular maintenance and upkeep. There is the exclusion of regulation on docks and piers, and that's largely it. I've had people inquire with me about, are we changing setbacks or the layout of the maps? And the answer to all of that is no, none of that's changing. This is, it largely just cleans up what we had so that it aligns with the state. And in the previous ordinance, we had just fixed documents, it was sometimes referred to in terms of regulatory materials. Best practices manual or something like that. And so what we did was we updated those, but then it says or as amended, something to that effect. So that is there, but you don't have to update the document every time. That outside document gets updated, so it'll be whatever is enforced at the time.
So do we, like, what, public hearing?
You need anything on that?
Oh, if anybody has any questions or comments about it, we'll handle them. Prior to, or we'll get to them again at the next meeting.
It's just going, so nothing, so housing setbacks and stuff like
None
that.
of that's changed.
Then we just need a motion to close the public hearing? No, all right.
Yeah, that's all she wrote, folks.
Damn, I had another 2 minutes coming.
Well, here, you give another chance.
So I wasted them the first time.
Well, we got a public hearing, number 9 here, public hearing on referendum questions, shall the town vote to raise and appropriate the 48,000 to fund the new, community event and engagement coordinator position?
All right, just like the last one, this has a document online that is related to the position, which is the draft job description. This article will appear on your ballot. It is a 2-sided ballot. You have all the candidates on one side and you will flip it over and this will be the only questions on the back. You can vote on this by absentee ballot or you can vote on it between 8 AM and 7 PM on March 3rd. This is, the request is $48,000 budgetary. That's the request to raise and appropriate in the article. That does not directly translate, as Peter will quickly remind you, into the prorated because we're using budgetary figures, which is the roundup. So I think that's off 1,000 or 2 in the total scheme of that, but that's what we're at, that's what we're looking at. And we will have the results of this, and if everything goes well, we'll have it by the start of town meeting at 7:30 that night. We'll know the results of this article, to be able to consider as we move through the budgeting process and voting on that.
Yeah, I don't expect a very big turnout.
You never know,
So
you never know,
you don't.
it has been dwindling. Anything from the public on that?
Yeah, we will hold a formal public hearing. At the next, this is formal, but we're gonna post the next public hearing on the shoreline zoning ordinance for the next one. That's just a technicality on the ordinance.
So on the position. So if it goes through at town meeting, when would you be would you go immediately into trying to fill the position?
So my first step is to come back after town meeting, so that's Wednesday, I think is how it'll line up. Come here, we'll look at the job description and we'll have a new board, right?
Right.
We'll have a new member of the board, so we'll vote on to accept the job description. And we'll vote on hopefully a job listing at the time to put that out and whether or not we want to include wages, whether or not we would include this or include that.
You'll have all those particulars pretty much hashed out soon after the town
If
meeting.
it's approved, and then if it's approved, my guess is that we leave the window open for 30 days.
Yep.
Being a new position, we're not gonna do this on a rolling basis. Could be a minimum of 30 days open, so we'd probably be looking at maybe a June 1 onward. If everything went perfect and we had interested candidates that were qualified.
Yeah.
And then it's a matter of does the board want to have that in probably year 1, we definitely do, maybe not.
So
The
there's no.
confirmation of that employee.
So the thing is, I guess. When you're offering this to the candidates, people that are interested, there's no guarantees. That this is gonna be more than a 1-year trial, 6 month, basically a 6-month trial basis. I mean. If they're hired, there's no guarantees you've got a job the second year.
No, nobody's is, right? If this is successful and the program itself works out, everybody that's come on board is a 6-month probationary employee, if you work public.
Okay.
your 6 month probationary. So in my
But
mind,
this is regardless of whether your job description, you've done
Yes.
a good job or not. Basically, you've got 6 months and we don't know whether you're gonna be funded for another year.
yeah,
So if you were to leave a decent job, you've got 6 months, and we haven't figured out whether we're gonna fund this again or not.
and so then I'll editorialize very quickly. But if we can get qualified applicants for the job and we select a candidate and that candidate works out, I don't believe in my 9 years here, the town of Norridgewock would vote that down. If it were renewed. If you have a successful candidate that's performing well, if they approve it, and from the outset, you're not gonna see them terminate.
Fair
If
enough.
they find out that the position is not. I think that's largely gonna be on the individual.
Okay.
On the employees.
Yes, and it's almost, like the fire department, it's almost a 2-year commitment, right? Your first year, you're getting your feet, wet, you're getting into your position. If you don't perform the second year, that's when you see the position, right? People get tired of it.
Well, I was just looking at it from candidate. From the candidate's perspective as to, do I leave a job? Yes, this looks like a good opportunity, but do I leave what I have for 6 months?
Matt brings up a good point. You went for the full-time firefighter position.
Yes.
On our year one, we had a pretty good sized pool of candidates. So it's obviously an individual decision as to.
Okay.
But year two, it doesn't go to town vote individually, right? It's right into the budget.
You know, they're like.
If the budget committee
Right,
and us decide to get rid of it, then because it's just not working, that's.
So it won't be a line item as such as it is now.
Right.
Correct.
We rolled it.
Okay. So it won't stand on.
Be like
And the
administration,
hours, like,
a recreation budget or something.
did have another job, this is something that could go with it, like,
Very unlikely,
really, I thought it was only gonna be like
32 hours a week, 32 to 40.
a lot of it was
You
like
find
nights
me
and
somebody that's
weekends.
gonna have the energy for.
Well, I'm just thinking like someone who was like,
You might be
if someone's a
able to-
teacher and it's like nights and weekends, like, that is something that could be a possibility.
You might be able to.
Yeah, the right person, for sure.
I work 14 hours a day. I don't see what the problem is.
You can do it.
You guys.
He's only 26 though, and look what it's doing.
Yeah,
to him.
exactly.
Well, this is called being married.
Okay,
Oh, dear.
anything else on this one? So we're just gonna roll right into number 10 here. Discussion action on acceptance foreclosed properties.
All right, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 properties that went to automatic foreclosure on the third Monday. Close of business on Monday, they foreclosed. That's 10 Mark Stream Road. That is a home and acreage. 40 Beach Hill Road is a mobile home. 186 Smithfield Road is a home and land. 132 is a mobile home. And 324 Scourgeon is a building and land. All of these folks have been sent first class letter to say, look, the property is foreclosed on, here's your redemption amount. So there's 2 redemption amounts here, just to give you a little bit of an idea. It's good through 319. That's not a lot of time to come up with a chunk of money. But, people get income tax and things like that, so it's not out of the question. But 319 is the day before your next meeting, and that is the last opportunity that this board can sign a quick claim leave to put it in their name before April 1st. So if it's after 319, we can't commit taxes to these people. Or after 319, I have to add on forecasted taxes for this next year. If these properties are not redeemed, we have to hold them for a minimum of 6 months. And then we go about recouping expenses through the sale process, which is miserable. We've not done it. We're ready to do it.
Right.
But we don't have the portfolio properties necessarily to do it, so. That's where we're at. I was discouraged by the number of them we had.
Yeah, that's a lot, actually.
And some of them were, like, you see the amounts, but there's one account on here, it was $60. That then caused it to go to automatic foreclosure. So it stinks, but it is what it is, and some of these are very achievable in redemption, but. And we've had talked with one person already. What's done is done, and we can't circumvent liens in terms of maturing after 18 months. Can't stop.
And so if these don't get the redemption amounts paid and it becomes town property, we have to go through a whole new process now, right? Like
Right.
enlisting like a real estate agent and all that stuff, okay?
So, I mean, what I always encourage people to do is to keep us out of it.
Mhm.
Which means if you're in the situation and you go to a bank. You have a home, go to a bank and get some money. Go to a friend, go to a family, sell your home. Right, pay it off, sell your home, and then find something more affordable. And the latest trend, because of everything and how difficult it is to get the money out, people are going under purchase and sales with foreclosed owners. Conditioned upon the fact, on them buying the property back and then handing it over to them. So, hey, property owner A, I'll give you $20,000, now you owe 9,000 in back taxes, I'll give you 20,000 if you agree to sell it to me once you get back put down. We're starting to see those things start to rumble around, which honestly is wonderful and easy for us as long as we recoup all of our fees and expenses.
Okay.
Yeah. So what I do need though with that, if you don't have any other questions, would be a motion to accept the list of foreclosed properties as presented.
So moved.
Second, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? It's everybody. Okay, number 11, discussion action on sewer financial position.
So I just wanted to add something in, Matt, when we're talking, it's like, okay, well, let's make a meeting with the meeting, so. This is not anything we're gonna be doing anything with until after our meeting, when we have a new sewer commission. But the fact of the matter is that the sewer department, operated at a loss this last year, about 18,000. You can see that they struggled their way out, of not representative of current staff, right? Not our problem, candidly, but the model for rate setting and operating expenses didn't align. We were just adjusting rates as we needed to, or not adjusting rates at all. Expenses do what expenses do. And it is what it is. When we got the upgraded plant, that obviously reduced expenses, especially in the way of facility maintenance and equipment maintenance. And rates were raised, back February 1st of 23, so it's been 2 years since we've raised rates. And that's evident in the chart in terms of where we're operating. So what we're gonna end up doing with this is we're gonna send it to the sewer commissioners and they're gonna have to have that honest discussion about how do we get where we wanna go. Because you can't continue to operate like this. And we didn't put money in reserves. Well, that's gonna be the discussion for the next time, once we can get remotely into an audit for the municipal side of things. Peter and I are gonna work to get the airport financials, and we're gonna have the hard and difficult preliminary discussion here before I go out to the airport and have the discussion with the advisory as to how do we make this a break-even venture. We're not here to raise a lot of money at the sewer department. The goal is break even.
Yeah.
And by break even, I mean put 15 or 20 a year
right.
into reserves.
Yeah.
So
We're not borrowing money again, you know.
no. So this is the same information that I'll share with the sewer commissioners after town meeting. By the way, if you're interested in the sewer department or its loss of money, please feel free to run. I think we're gonna have 3 vacancies on the sewer commission. So.
Can a board member be on the sewer? Or is that
so-
just bad?
No, I don't think so. I don't think
Yeah.
there's no
I just
conflict,
Okay.
and you don't appoint.
Oh, okay, okay.
You also don't really stamp anything for the sewer commission. If they
Yeah,
want to
that's
raise the
why you
rate,
like
they raise
that,
the
like-
rate.
We don't have a cross.
It's only the big borrowing, but I mean, honestly, they need the help, they need folks that are on the sewer, they need folks that are off the sewer to be a part of this, and they're just in a difficult situation. So page 2 of this section, you can look back to 2010 and see expenses versus their use charges, so they do have other fees come in, but when we talk about expenses, we need to talk about rates.
Mhm.
So that's your use charge only, and you can see where we lost money. And I didn't even sum that up for you, because I think that you'd be horrible. But the fact of the matter is, if I just look at the previous 4 years, our expenses rise by an average of 7.4% each year, while revenues are only rising 2%. So that's right,
Yeah.
and it's an exponential problem.
Yeah. Well, right.
Especially if you're not touching rates. So at the bottom, I hypothetically propose, just for the sake of conversation, a June 1st increase of 10%. A January 1st increase of 10%, followed by another 10% the following year and another 10% the following year. You are looking at substantial increase. So you would have a bill, if you use 1,200 units, today you pay $163 a quarter. And by the time these rate increases were done in 2028, you'd pay $238
Order,
a quarter. So 163 to 238 a quarter on 1,200 units of usage. I just say that's average, because I think that's about average, you know, household of 2, 3, or 4, 1,200 units is an average question.
Where do we fall comparatively to other municipalities.
I haven't done a comp and we've gotta look at it, I guess, and probably rural water has something like that available to us.
Yeah.
But
Cause I know it's not apples to apples, but I mean.
it's
Yeah.
not, but I mean, the taxpayers pay the debt service.
Yeah.
Right, we pay principal and they pay the interest, but. If you look at these increases, which sound ridiculous,
Yeah,
that if things stay
Never-
static,
right,
we have them putting $21,000 away.
yeah.
But if we had been increasing
Right.
small along the
Right.
way, sometimes those things happen when you gotta play catch up.
Yeah, right. So, and then you complement it with water rates just increased 10%, and I think they're increasing another 10% next year. So you're compounding on those same people, and so I thought this was a more relevant discussion, because as we're out talking to people through election season and have town meeting. Really, the only time we talk about this is when we talk about servicing the debt, but. What do people want, because this is a pressure,
So,
and you can justify it both ways. But this is, ultimately, this is where we need to be, and the calculation at the bottom of the page takes into effect that. Expenses are rising by 7% and revenues are rising only by 2%, that's built in as static. And so we're trying to cover that continuously.
What's the average water bill? When you get $160 a quarter. Sewer bill, what's the water bill the same
I
quarter?
think your water bill's about $100 on minimum usage and you get 1,100 straight, cause I think it's about 100 now.
so you're gonna be about, so the average homeowner would be $1,500 a year. If, when all these increases are increased.
Because they're never gonna really stop.
Right.
Right, but I mean, I'm just saying it's gonna. go
Next
up
3 years,
$1,500 a year for sewer and water to the average.
No, but those are quarterly rates.
Yeah, yeah, but I'm, yeah.
Right,
Well, it's gonna go
quarterly,
$250,
you're talking
250, it's gonna go almost to $1,000 a year for the sewer, and you're at $400 after the rates rise from water.
$100 or $110 a month for your in and out combined.
Yeah,
No.
yeah,
No grunting,
Yeah.
no flushing.
porta potties.
We're probably in the mid-range, because like Skowhegan, the tax base pays for sewer completely.
Really?
So there aren't sewer charges, but I know someone who just bought an apartment building up in Madison, and they were shocked at how expensive
Really?
their utility bills were compared to Norridgewock.
Well, that's
So
good.
I
that's,
mean,
they're-
say
We're not making it either.
you say that, Mike, but
They're not making it.
if you had to replace your well and your septic for private
Yeah.
folks, I mean, those prices are.
That's tough. I got properties on it and I got properties off it, and it's.
Depends on what trouble you
You know,
have.
if you got 10 grand for a new well and 15 for a new septic, you're 25.
I hope I get out of this.
Yeah.
Well, for the 10. I don't think I'm
You
gonna-
get the 40 discounts.
Huh?
So do we don't have any action on this, right? You don't have to-
No, it's a heads up, right?
It's a heads up, but it's a discussion, I think that, and there's a lot of people that watch these meetings, and so to have a discussion about this, to get some initial feedback. Obviously, the commission is the one that's gonna carry the greatest weight, but. Again, we don't have a commission.
It's gotta be addressed.
No
Yeah,
doubt.
for sure, oh, yeah.
No
But
doubt.
ultimately, the taxpayers of the town of Norridgewock, the whole town. Has to pay for this, because it's gonna come back to, I mean.
Yes,
It's the
right.
responsibility of the town, not just, I mean, ultimately,
It's tough, I don't want to subsidize somebody that's on the
We're
town's water if I'm
responsible.
not, but at
the
the
town
same.
knows, right, and the town gets involved on this.
No.
No.
So, I mean, we don't default, we just go in the hole, right, and then we pay the bills from other.
Yes, but I'm just.
And that's the bad habit that we got into before I got here, with the airport. Sewer department, and then it's like, okay, then Peter then has to spend a day and a half. Trying to figure out what the position is, how much does this fund owe the town, how much does this fund owe the town? Because that's the way that we do it, rather than trying to offset break even. And it's easy to take your eye off the ball.
7 out of the last 10 years, it's not broke even.
Right. And we took a lot of pressure when we did that phased increase, when we got to where we were, and. But it's. It's not great, I mean, we have an operating gap of 18,000. So,
So everything else goes up, and we'll have to keep with the pace of the inflation, the cost of doing business, so.
but nobody
It
else
is what it
is
is.
gaining an increase every year, but, you know, that 2 to 3% increase might do it. The other factor is that one of our largest customer, year round, probably. Is gonna be closed. Come May.
What
So,
percentage of that is it?
I'm not sure.
I wanna say that they are about $20,000 a year. So
Yeah.
7 or 8%.
Yeah, pretty, yeah, nothing good.
That's where we'll feel it, is in the sewer department. I don't know how the water bill looks for them, but.
I'm sure it's similar.
That's a lot of revenue.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's how the sewer bill is
Right.
based on the water usage.
We've got the car wash and we've got the school, but the school's not open year round, like, they get their bills during the school season, but that 1 quarter, when that school's closed, you notice it in our commitment level. So,
Oh, it's a tough one, yeah.
Wow.
and maybe. Great discussion and thought, maybe what we end up having to do is we have to raise money as a town to put towards the sewer department.
I mean, yeah, because Cowgan pays the whole freight there.
But when we don't have a reserve account at the sewer department, right? We don't.
No, we
So
don't.
do we say, okay, we do it for the airport? It's not a ton of money, but we put money away as a town for the airport. Do we need to start doing that for the sewer department?
Oh, yeah, but boy, that burns. I'm a farmer out on the edge of town. I don't wanna pay for somebody.
You're already
to
out.
go downtown.
And I understand.
You already are now?
Well, I know you are, but you're only up to like 90,000 is, I think, is what we're.
The debt service, yeah.
Yeah, right, that debt service, you know what I mean? We're not. Full on
That just
subsidizing
changed.
it.
It's all of the
Oh, yeah,
conversation.
yeah.
Those are the things that really need to get talked about. Where do we wanna go? Do you just wanna put it all in the ratepayers?
Yeah.
Ooh,
You can't have.
you can't get
You're not gonna redevelop a sheet rock. What happens to a school, you're in the business, you can't get out.
For sure.
Yeah.
So where do you put the pressure? Do you set a commercial rate or residential?
So
rate?
what's the difference? My question is, so what's the difference if you? Right now, you're not making enough money, and the town's gonna have, is throwing money in to help it out. Well, what's the difference? It's still coming out of the town as a whole, so what's the heartburn to go to the town and say, listen. You know, we could raise this $1,500 a year to each household here. If you wanna put it all, you're gonna get a war back in it, but.
Oh,
but it's-
yeah.
it-
You're gonna
Why
come
can't
off
we
my
spread it
septic system,
evenly?
like-
If you're already subsidizing it just like you do the airport, what's the difference?
I mean, yeah, like, we pay for
If you-
things as taxpayers that everyone doesn't use, everyone doesn't use the airport, everyone doesn't use like the rec department, everyone doesn't use all the other stuff, but like, we can't just pick and choose which thing.
Valid.
It's a town service, it's a town thing, just because you don't use it doesn't mean that the town doesn't pay for it.
No,
And that's-
responsible.
I mean, stuff, I use it and don't use it, so I see both sides of it, but.
Hold it before you gotta hold it, you can't use it tonight, you don't have to hold it, and you don't have to go outside, you don't pay for it.
Go to your other place, go to your other place in town that
No,
does.
that's definitely.
I don't mean to interrupt that discussion, but I mean, if you're already subsidizing the airport,
That would get people
The town
down.
already subsidized sewer department with a form of service, right?
that's a tough one, you guys are gonna have
I
fun.
know.
I'm sure everybody in town will have, that's a good discussion.
Oh, yeah, that get people town meeting.
Oh, this is good.
Sorry, that's not all it's bad, right?
No,
That's to get it, so,
that is a good one.
might be right, so we can talk about it tomorrow.
Yep, all right, well, moving forward, right.
What's my-
That was good,
Get that.
that's good. Number 12 here, discussion regarding 2025 capital purchases.
Alright, we're gonna break this up, I already talked about the fire truck, we've obviously got road work going on. Lowry Hill, we're talking about, we're gonna get prices for our stretch. Last mile projects, I'll call it, your Beach Hill Road extension, your Independence, George Street, those, stragglers. Those are on the list, and we've got Bigelow Hill still on the list, if we can get all of that navigated through, the environmental assessments and. HUD money seems to be coming in quite fine, despite all of the hiccups and potential threats that we had to get funding for, but we're good there. From, asset level, we're looking at public works with a new crew truck. We've talked about that here before, but that should be $50,000 at most, I would think, from their existing account. And we'll determine how we're gonna go about that after, but typically we've reached out to dealers and we've said, give us your best price, put it in the envelope. And then we'll bring it back and buy a truck, but, they don't need anything major, but it should be four-wheel drive and a full cab. They can get their crew around town efficiently, as opposed to the two-wheel drive sewer pickup truck that we brought second hand.
It's in rough shape now.
Yeah, right. Fighting for a sticker. So that's what I have on that, no action required, but if you have any other thoughts, please get them over to me.
Good. Did we look at anything else over at the garage, the grader, any, right, I mean, that, but that's,
So,
I don't think we're there.
well, I think the road committee got into it pretty heavy at the last meeting. And that's why you start to look at these last mile roads, where you've got those loose pieces that are on the outskirts of town that cost. We had that discussion, what costs money, and taking it to a short section of George Street isn't in our best interest.
No.
It takes us all day to get up there and get back for a short section, so how do you cut those things out of the maintenance plan and decrease the value of grader? For costs, so that you can maybe outsource this.
Well,
to
and
someone.
that's what I was getting to,
Well,
is there a
because-
possibility to
Well,
outsource?
that's what was, well,
Cost effective.
possibly sometimes, but the problem is, you know, for you to upgrade a grader is $500,000.
Right, it was. five
You're
or
looking at
six
$500,000 for one piece of equipment.
Yeah.
And the road committees,
No chance.
when Doug Farron first started this whole thing 25 years ago, it was trying to get the maintenance down to a dollar roll without so many, we had, I don't know how many miles of gravel road we started with. But we're trying to get it beyond that so we can get it to a more manageable place where we don't have to have a $500,000 grader every 20 years. And that grader has done very well
That grader
for the age of it. It's gotta be close to 30 years old.
it's more than it's an 88.
Yeah, so.
That's pretty good, Chucky.
I mean, but it's a good grader, I mean.
I
I
think,
mean, it's been maintained well, but it's been decreased, the load that it's been put on it, has been decreased over the years, but we're gonna need grading.
Oh, yeah.
You know, there's sections that are always gonna be gravel, but we've tried to, like Richard said, those small areas up there. Ooh, they're painful for me.
Well, and are they enough to where anybody would treat us well to come and grade it for us? Or is it so small that you're just gonna pay through the nose to have it done, period?
I mean, there's not many services out there either.
I mean,
That grading service that you're talking about is not readily available. The only one that I know of right here, damn near retired.
Yeah.
right,
You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah, cause he must be 88 or on.
Yeah.
so I mean,
You're
you're
in the
asking
dirt
for a
business,
service that
aren't
may
you?
not be available to us.
there's nothing DMO does.
you're in the dirt business.
Would you talk to the CEO?
Right.
Is that Lisa?
That's
No.
DFA.
I agree. Yeah,
He'd like to have one of everything, don't even start activity.
I do.
Okay,
okay, yeah, we'll dive into other business, please.
Motion to add discussion action on notice of public hearing to the agenda.
so moved.
Motion second, all those in favor? Is everybody?
This is just a full notice that we will post about the amendments to the shoreline zoning ordinance that will be heard at the next meeting.
Okay,
So it'll be a motion to sign.
motion to sign then. I move to sign.
Motion second, any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Everybody? That's all I. Any board have anything else for our business?
No, I just moved for Drummond.
That deal out the airport. When the time, just a number of years ago, talking about putting solar panels, what was the bugaboo there?
The FAA was not allowing us to put the panels in the proximity that we wanted, correctly?
Started with that in the glint and glare study. Then it pivoted into
Madison, okay.
access to feeding it back to Madison.
Yeah, getting it
Electric.
on the grid, yeah.
We're in a holding pattern there because there still might be opportunity with waste management utilizing some of their generated energy on their own property. So that might, in the next 2 years, there's opportunity there, but
Is that an option for the sewer plant or no? Where we have that field and the building, I mean, I'm not really solar, but I mean, is that a possibility down there? Of any real savings, or does the cost?
Well, that wouldn't-
outweigh the
that wouldn't
savings?
amount to that
Town
much.
buildings where you already have, has anybody ever looked into how much it would cost to cover this building and cover the cost? of
Years ago,
this
Michelle
building?
talked about.
Does that make it cost?
Oh,
I,
I don't know what that would be.
I-
Grant money to put that in to buy your own power and sell some back and make your own, but
we've got 75,000 in pre-approved grant funding for solar, if that's what we wanna use it.
no, but has anybody ever addressed how much of a payback would be?
The return on the investment.
Yeah, return on your investment, if you put it on top of the existing.
Five
Well,
years,
it's
isn't
like a
it?
fire station. or-
Yes,
But it's tough, in
With
most
5
of the
years,
residential
return on the
setups, it's
investment,
just
okay.
10 to 15.
Okay.
The numbers have changed a little bit,
No,
so I don't know on our end.
I know somebody that just did it in the last 12 months and they said it was about 8 years.
Really,
The initial was 10 when they started looking at it, and it was reduced to 8 by the time it came back because of energy
it'll
rates.
be a problem, with the way they're rising, I'm sure.
but of course,
Well,
well,
sure.
this republic, this administration is gonna be a little different too. They're not so green-eyed either.
Yeah. Be interesting.
He did say something like
I-
that, people before fish.
What?
He did say people before fish.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else?
You have a motion in a second.
Motion and a second, all those, sorry.